And we're back again. It's your friendly neighborhood film watchers. And this time, it's your friendly neighborhood draft guys. It's Franklin Football.
Right,
I'm your
right.
main man, Brandon, and I got my guy with me.
What's going on, man? How you doing, man? Everything going all right up there, up in old Richmond?
Yes, sir. Had a lot of rain over the past week, but can't complain at all.
Got you,
Um,
man.
of course, over the past week, we also had a draft, very eventful 3 days.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
didn't go as some of us may have planned or
Hmm.
thought.
Hmm.
um, I'm engaged, as you may know. My fiance, we sat down and she watched the draft with me, as loving as she is. And at the end of that third day, she said, "You did all of this work just to be wrong."
I think what she was alluding to, even though humorous, what she was basically saying is that you got emotionally involved with the players that you felt you loved and that would help the Cowboys in so many different ways. And I think between you and I, Brandon, I want to say we probably did maybe 200. I
Give
want
or
to say
take, yeah.
maybe, yeah, about 200 players. Well, I
Give or
think
take,
what
yes,
we
sir.
forgot is that Tony, the scout, and Nick, the scout, and Tommy, the scout, have been looking at these guys for the last 2 years and had to
Hmm.
deal with all the different things that go with COVID protocol. And then what they also had to do is go back and say, what did the coaches want? So when we were looking at guys like who we love, aka Marvin Wilson, safety one, our Darius Washington, when we started saying these are our guys, and if you go back to our videos, we picked some of the guys that the Cowboys picked. We had Kelvin Joseph as our cornerback number 2 on our top 50 board. We had Jabril Cox inside of that. We had Michael Parsons drafted lower because we turned around and had already made a preconceived notion that this guy right here isn't as good as this one, this one, this one. So we got personally attached. So on Thursday night, I text you. I called into our main man Vox Lombardi show, irate because my dream scenario had come to pass. We were looking there at 10. We were absolutely wiped out except for the guy I wanted, who was Rashawn Slater. Then for us to get the opportunity to draft back to get a little right brick on my brick, you know what I'm saying, and get to 12 and get an extra pick, and Rashawn Slater still be on the board. Chris thought he was the smartest guy in the room. He had called this thing out, and then when they took Micah Parsons, I immediately got emotional about them not doing what I thought they should have done. And that put me in a foul, cantankerous mood for the whole night instead of realizing the guy we got at 12. Talk to me.
Well, at the end of the day, and excuse me for the echo, my office is still a work in progress. Um,
You good? You
they did
good?
what
You
I
good?
they did what I thought they should have done. At the end of the day, they traded down,
Okay.
which from day one, since they were
Okay.
in contention for pick number 4, I donned the
You.
helmet and the cape of Captain Trade Down and have talked about them trading down. However small that trade may have been. So at the end of the day, the trade just wasn't as grandiose as I would have liked it to have been, but they did what I liked. So I'm a happy camper. But the
Right.
player
So I
wasn't
think it kind
my
of, yeah, because
the player wasn't
go
my
ahead.
first or second, preferred option. But the way I see it, he's a cowboy now. So it's our job to figure out how he fits into this team, this defense.
Absolutely. I think after looking back, and the guy we're talking about, if you listen, this is Michael Parson, linebacker out of Penn State. And so what helped me understand how great of a draft pick or how good that draft pick was is that in the first round, usually you only have so many guys with first round grades. The value of picking Michael Parsons at 12, he was still by far one of the most explosive players on the draft board. We just looked at all the things that he couldn't do well instead of saying all the things that he does do well. And I think that's what, kind of blinded, like, oh man, he gets misdirection. We already got guys who get misdirection. Man, he's Jalen Smith. And that was my first initial reaction. Then after realizing or hearing him say, I've never played a position more than 2 years, and then going back and saying as a freshman, he led Penn State in tackles. And as a sophomore, he was up for I think he won the best linebacker in the country award. And then he sat out. So me saying, wait a minute, you get in the first round guys with huge ceiling and his floor is solid for what he can do right now. That's a great situation for us, being that we have two linebackers who we have an extreme amount of questions on. You have the extreme amount of questions about Leighton Vander Esch's health, and then you have the questions about Jalen Smith's ability to cover and make plays and diagnose. So why not bring a dynamic player, an explosive player in the first round like you now have with Michael Parsons? So hindsight, initially, I didn't like it. But in hindsight, it was an amazing pick for them to get him at 12.
Hey, man. Hey, man, let me tell you one thing. Leighton Vander Esch is sick right now. Jalen Smith may be okay. Jalen Smith may be okay, but Leighton Vander Esch is sick right now. Because not only that, did the team draft a linebacker day one, but they also declined to pick up his fifth-year option.
Well, I don't think, and we're going to have an opportunity to talk about that because we're going to have to talk about the depth as we talk about the rest of these guys. I don't think it means such a doomsday event for Leighton Vander Esch or Jalen Smith, because I think the guys that they got later in the draft will help them get back to their 2018 form. I think that was the biggest thing that happened. I think in 2019 and 2020, I think the Cowboys did those two young men a disservice by not taking care of some different areas with different players in front of them. So you turn around in the second round. I mean, you got anything else you feel about Michael Parsons or no?
I think that he is the best run-stopping linebacker available. Quite possibly the best run-stopping linebacker in the draft, which, according to need, defensively was the biggest area of need anyway, because you don't want teams putting up 300 on the ground on.
Okay. I mean, I think he does more than just. I think he's more than just a one-trick pony.
Absolutely.
I think this year he will do more rushing type, but he gives us a bona fide, straight ahead type guy. His first year, I think his ceiling, which we've all said his ceiling is incredible, that he has the ability to become a dynamic defender across the board in years to come. So I like that. I think my second round pick was for me my favorite pick in the draft.
I love it.
I think for me personally, he was my favorite pick. I love the fact of the matter that my cornerback number 2, Kelvin Joseph, that forever be famously known, I guess, in Cowboy Nation as his rap name of Boss Man Fat, was sitting there at 44, and the Cowboys took him. And I think that really helped out in a lot of ways of them taking players in the second round who were able to come in day one and play. Didn't think he was going to be there. You had 4 corners going the first round with with J.C. Horn going first to Carolina, Patrick Shane going to Denver, Craig Newsome going in the first round.
Yes.
And
did Asante Samuel go in the first as well?
No,
he went early second.
Yeah, I think he went right after. I think he went right after. He went the second round. I thought he
Yeah.
went right before Kelvin Joseph. But I love the fact you bring Kelvin Joseph in. And the thing that I loved about him is that he lets you know he loved football. I think a lot of or some YouTubers or some particular YouTubers question his love for football. I never questioned his love for football. I just figure in 2020 and 2021 and the years to come, guys have more interest than just football. And you've got to be able to live with that and deal with that. Some of them may like, they had a big thing when Myles Garrett came out that he was well read. He was very intelligent. And people were like, well, I need my football player to be all about football. Well, you can be a well-rounded person and be a great football player. And I think Kelvin Joseph comes into the building with the ability to be the number 2 and possibly the best corner on this football team in the near future. What you think about Boston? Go ahead.
I see it like this, man. It says a lot about a player when he could potentially cause physical harm to a coach, and 2 coaching staffs borderline give up on a guy, and he still go early second round. That says a lot about his skill. It says a lot about the skill of a player.
I think he has a lot of untapped potential. I think when he was at LSU, they had questions with him. I think he also turned around in Kentucky. He's one of the better players there. And they let him walk. Okay. But that doesn't take away from the fact of the matter that coaches believe I can get the best out of him. And if his talent is enough that he can be a rangy, sticky, in-phase type guy and be a guy who's a bookend and make your secondary a turnover machine, I like that. I like the fact of the matter that he can stay in phase. He likes to go get the ball. Now you have 3 guys in your secondary, including with Trayvon Diggs and Donovan Wilson, who are looking for the ball. And when you're playing cover 3, cover 1, things of that nature, you need guys who can run and who look for the football. Love it.
The beauty of it is that at pick 10, Dallas traded down so that Philadelphia could take Devonta Smith. Rumor has it is that he is still searching for ways to get the clamps off him that Kelvin Joseph put on him. Rumor has it is that he cannot get the cuffs off of him.
Okay, so the rumors may be true. He did get Devonta Smith, the first-round draft pick of the Philadelphia Eagles, had a great game against Kentucky. He just didn't have a great game against Kelvin Joseph.
Absolutely.
And so that's always a bonus. That's a bonus, and that's an added plus. Yeah, if you got him in lockdown. So that's a great thing. So, people are going to refer back to that. People are going to refer back to the point of him doing what he did. But I think they just also bode so well for our defense. For years, we've been seeking the defense and players who went after the ball. Cornerbacks in the past here, who really were ball hawks. I think the last time you had your corners with over 5, your cornerbacks, not your DBs, just your cornerbacks with over 5 picks is when you had to go all the way back to Terrence Newman and my guy from South Florida. Him and Orlando Scandrick got drafted in the same.
Brady James?
No, Mike. Oh gosh, this is terrible because we tape and we live. But the last time you had a cornerback get over 5 interceptions, it was Terrence Newman. Okay. And since then, the other guy who got 5 interceptions back to back, who's a street free agent, the GOAT, Jeff Heath. But we're not gonna go there. We're not gonna go there. The GOAT is loose. The GOAT is loose and he's free. Just the GOAT. But you turn around. That's the last time you had a pair of cornerbacks over 5 interceptions. So I think you turn around, you put Diggs, who had 3 last year, you bring a guy like Kelvin Joseph, who's a ball hawk, along with Donovan Wilson, who's got a magnet for getting to the ball and turnovers and making plays. I think it bodes well for the secondary. The question that we have and what many people have, and I think many Cowboy fans have an issue with, is with the 3 third-round picks. Tell me how you feel about the 3 third-round picks, my friend.
Now, before we go on, I do want to touch on one tiny thing. Kelvin Joseph, bigger guy, 6'1". And you're gonna see that as a continuous thing throughout all of our draft picks.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind. Now,
Gotcha.
Next, at pick number 75 in the third round, Osa Odigizua played for UCLA.
Good job. I was just gonna say the guy from UCLA. Good job.
I practiced
Great job.
this. I practiced this when I watched
good.
Film. I liked him, man. Space Eater. The thing is, he was taken for a good reason. He posterizes guys. He shoves guys up against the locker, takes their money.
Right.
And that's something that the team needs in the interior. That's something that you did not see a lot of in 2020. And once again, at the beginning, I may have said this before we started recording, coming into that war room, the coaches, particularly Dan Quinn, had a plan. And they at the end of day 3, they felt like they accomplished their plan. And it took me maybe a day or two after that to really go back and watch some of these guys who admittedly, I didn't watch a lot of film on some of these guys because a couple of them were reaches. Admittedly, some of them were reaches, but it took me going back and watching some film on them and understanding the need in those situations to say, okay, I can understand it. It may not have matched with my preference in those situations, but I can understand it. Osa Odigizua definitely lined up with need in this situation. And I can say that he is a good player, solid pick.
Okay.
Little bit of a reach. I would say that there, and when I say a little bit, maybe 10 picks, but Dallas maybe could have gotten him at 84, but when you're picking at 75 and 84, is there really a difference there?
I mean, it's a huge difference because going back to your emotional feeling, you wanted to get one technique that you had watched and saw, but it didn't take away from Odigiz's ability to play. After watching film on him more inclusively and watching how he, changed the line of scrimmage, he's exactly what you needed. He at his 280-pound frame and his height and his size and his ability to use leverage because he was one of the best wrestlers in the country before he went to college. He changes the line of scrimmage, which you didn't have happen last year. When you have defensive linemen that do that, that causes them to keep line guards and centers off of our linebackers, where our linebackers can go flow. So therefore, Leighton Vander Esch and Jalen Smith have the ability to go do what they do best, go run to the football. And then with the addition of Michael Parsons, I think that really helps. I think getting Odigi Awuzie-Ansah, I got it right, in the third. Initially, I wanted someone else because I was emotionally attached to Marvin Wilson. That was my thing. I wanted to see Marvin Wilson with one of those third-round picks. I was happy. After having a time to look at it, he was a really good pick. I think he kind of gets you into the mode and mindset of a guy with much upside along the lines, and I hate to bring this name up because he had a question about how much he loved football, kind of like a David Irvin. Big, long-arm guy with the ability to change the line of scrimmage and make plays. Not, just an extremely talented guy who didn't love football, but I think Odigi loves football. I think the next pitch, when you went and got Chauncey Goldston, I think you went to a guy who can play multiple positions inside as well as go outside, kind of like your Army Swiss knife kind of defensive lineman coming from a good program in Iowa. And he was also, for a lot of people, a reach, but still a really, really good football player.
Chauncey Goldston, I think, is what you just lost. I think that he is like your Talon Crawford. You replace what you just lost, and I don't think that he's a reach at all. going back and looking, I think that you got him exactly where he should have been taken.
Okay.
Mid late third round.
Okay.
If not 84, he probably would have been taken by someone with one of their comp picks. Because this is where I would have had him graded. He's a very good player who's gonna play all up and down this defensive line. I think that this was a very solid pick. And admittedly, when we picked, both of us said who?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And listen, I didn't know who he was. And once again, since Marvin Wilson was on the board, I didn't care who it was. I wanted Marvin. So I can understand that. Now, for the infamous pick number 99. This will be a head scratcher. Yeah. This will be one that will make you brush your waves and just wonder what in the world's going on. But after looking at him, he's still an anomaly. He's got some areas where he's going to have to grow. Now, I think without question, I still think he was a reach in the third round pick when they got Nahshon Wright at pick number 99. There were other people on the board who I would have loved to gotten, and that we had mocked to the Cowboys had we got extra picks with a trade down. Brandon Browner out of Ohio State, who we loved. He was still on the board. Jabril Cox. Other DBs. Your safety one or Darius one. Yeah. Oh, Mello was on the farm. Yeah. Amsterdam out of Florida State. He was on the board. So he was a guy that I had no idea who he was. And I didn't see them picking him at 99 with so many other good players on the board with a needed safety who you could have picked more notable guys or guys that we had looked at to pick. He's going to be an anomaly for us. He's a pick that somebody says we can make him into this. My problem is picking him in the third round because you want your third round players to make a difference in their rookie season immediately. I think Nahshon Wright or Mr. Wright might be a good player, but you're not going to see that till maybe year 2, maybe year 3 for him to be that guy because I don't see him getting on the field anytime soon. And that's a problem.
And this really lets you know how loud Dan Quinn's voice was. He came in knowing the type of player that he wanted. Dan Quinn wanted to revive his Legion of Boom, and to do that, he wanted a certain archetype of player. Fast and tall.
Tall and long. Tall, long, able to close up windows, that kind of guy who could, work in space and be a guy who can run with guys. And he does do that.
Now, here's the philosophy behind that. Quarterback, especially shorter ones, because height isn't the biggest factor with quarterback nowadays. If you look at guys like Murray and Russell Wilson, you want to swallow up the field with jerseys. If they roll out, it's okay. Still seeing jerseys. So I can understand the thought process behind it. But just because guys are tall and fast doesn't mean that they possess the nuance to be able to overtake the receivers that are, elite route runners. Because receivers are also getting smaller in the NFL. Doesn't mean that they're lacking in the skill,
Well, I think the thing with Wright we're looking at, because that's what everybody's saying. He's 6'4", he's big. I'd said on drafting,
this is quick. Very fast.
And very fast. I'm like, this guy's Chris Westry. We never saw Chris Westry get on the field, which goes back to the coaching staff. To another thing we're going to talk about is player development. That where does this guy, when he comes in, how does he progress and develop inside this system? And I think what ended up happening in this draft, the one thing that we always talked about was the smell of Garrett players or right kind of guys in the building, and that had to be swept out. And I think with the picks of that they've had through these first 5 picks, you get that smell out the building. Like I want to be the right kind of guys, but I want to be guys who can play, who can develop and become really, really good football players and progress. And I think all 5 of these guys have that ability. Every one of these guys has ceiling that they can work to get better. And I think before guys were coming in who they were because they were the right kind of guys, and they were automatically, that's just who they were. And there was no progression to see them get better. If anything, we saw them decline.
So I hope that you don't kind of see that, but in the opposite way. You know how the Raiders used to just take guys because they were big, fast, like your Darius Hayward-Bay kind of thing? I hope that you don't see like that kind of, opposite swing with the Cowboys. Which, we still do have a great scouting department. I trust Will McClay. But I hope that towards these middle rounds, you don't see that sort of downward trend with us. That's just an aside from me.
But see, I think this is where me and you and many people in Cowboy Nation and in our draft community started saying we didn't trust him. We were just last year thinking that the draft was an A+ draft. And if you look at last year's draft, only 2 guys didn't get on the field for the Cowboys and make contributions. Okay? The only 2 guys who didn't play that were drafted were Bradley and I, right?
Yes.
And Robinson, the quarterback out of Tulsa.
Yes.
From last year. So we thought last year's draft was great. You got CeeDee Lamb, you got him. Trayvon Diggs in the second, Neville Gallimore in the third, right? Tyler Biadasz played. Ben DiNucci got some burn. The Nooch got some burn. So
stop it.
Everybody did their part. Ben did his part, lost the game like he's supposed to, and that's how it goes down. You just had to trust that. Okay, now that we're making this decision to revamp the defense and put quality players on the defense side of football, we had to trust Will McClay. And I can admittedly say I forgot that I trusted Will McClay. I really did.
But here's the thing that I also don't want people to forget, though. This defensive rebuild, because at the end of the day, it may very well end up being a rebuild. It is going to end up being a multi-year process.
It's going to be a rebuild. With the folks they cut, it's going to be a rebuild, and it does take time progression. I think, and go ahead. I want you to finish your point because I think I know where you're going. But go ahead and finish that up. It's a multi-year move.
Multi-year process. You have to get rid of and I hate to call it a stench. You have to get rid of the stench.
No. Call it what it is. Don't fake it.
It is. Yeah. It is, man. You got to get rid of that aroma of the previous coaching regime. And you saw that with, and I hate it because he's a wonderful guy. You see that with guys like Antoine Woods. You see that with guys like, and even though we didn't get to see him play, guys like Savion Smith. That was your guy.
You got to see him play. He was terrible. He played last year. He
played a little bit. You didn't get to see him playing out.
But the thing, okay, but here's the thing. With some of the guys that they did keep or bring in, some of those guys weren't Garrett guys. Savion Smith was picked up by last year's coaching staff. So let's not put that on Savion Smith. But maybe guys like Chidobe, who came in hurt his rookie year. Then you kept trying to switch him back and forth. I think the mindset of getting a guy in the spot, let him play that spot, I think that helps.
Yes.
Having a guy having player flexibility, but let him be a one technique, let him be a three technique. And I also believe it gives them a chance to let the guys you've had a chance to be in the building to get bigger, to get stronger, and have a full year. They'll be back to do that. I think the biggest thing that we turned around, we figured in 2018 when we got Tristan Hill, then Tristan Hill didn't play a snap in 18 because of the coaching. So then he flashed a little bit. 2019. I'm sorry. So he doesn't play a snap in 2019 when he's drafted. You're looking like, what the heck? Why is he not playing? Why is the coaching staff not having him out here playing? He shows you a little bit, blows his knee out, and so now with Goldston and Odigi coming in, we just throw Tristan Hill to the side. No, Tristan Hill has two going his third year inside an NFL facility. Even though he was injured, he starts showing you flashes. So I think with Neville, with Tristan coming back, with a Brendan Urban who's already been in the league, and the addition of Odigi and Chauncey Goldston, that interior defensive line gets incredibly stronger.
I think it'll be okay. It may not be finished, but I think it'll be okay. It's not a finished product. It's not the Mona Lisa or anything yet, but it'll be okay. I don't
you
can hang it on the fridge. You can put a magnet on it and hang it on the fridge.
Okay. I can see that, but I still think it's a working process. So
now,
with that,
the next pick in the draft. This was my second favorite pick.
Okay.
Second favorite pick in the whole draft. And I'm surprised that this guy made it to the fourth. Jabril Cox at pick 115. I'm shocked. I was surprised. I spit out a bit of my water because I didn't think that he was still available.
Okay.
I think that this made Jalen Smith a little scared. If the Michael Parsons pick made Leighton scared, the Jabril Cox pick made Jalen scared. I think both of them should be sick. As a matter of fact, I don't think Jalen tweeted anything the entire first night, by the way. I don't think he said anything. Now, both of these guys instantly come in. Jabril Cox and Michael Parsons, and are instantly your two best linebackers. Once again, prior to and even though I don't think that he was an immediate difference maker or anything, but prior to the Sean Lee retirement news, I don't think that linebacker was like a Babylon fire area of need or anything. But I will say this. You totally revamped your linebacker room for the next 5 years right now.
Well, I beg to differ with you, my friend, because you text me saying Sean Lee's out of here, linebackers in need, we may take Parsons. I poo-pooed that and was like, it's not going to be that big of a deal. Because I wanted to see Luke Gifford and Frederick and Bernard and see guys like that. And the Cowboys
care about those. They're not exciting. Nobody care about those guys.
I don't think it's not about anybody cared about it. I think Will McClain them said, listen, let's go get dynamic players who can do the one thing that Jalen can't do and the one thing Leighton can't do. And the two things the one thing Leighton hasn't been able to do consistently is stay healthy. Stay on the field. Okay, let's go get a dynamic guy who can probably stay on the field and he can be able to make plays for us, like Leighton Vander Esch did for us in 2018 as a rookie, staying on the field and made plays. You turn around with Jabril Cox, you get the one thing that Jalen Smith hasn't been able to do since he left Notre Dame, and that's running space. Jabril Cox is an absolute nightmare for running backs out of the flat, tight ends, and running with players. Probably the best cover corner in the draft, cover linebacker in this draft. And great, like you said, an amazing value in the fourth round, an absolute steal. And I think he comes in day one and he helps you move to the transition that like many Cowboy people have said and YouTubers have said, you may be seeing in 2022 your two starting linebackers inside are Michael Parsons and Jabril Cox.
Absolutely.
And because of the money that could end up saving, and if you turn around June 1 and can turn around and cut Jalen Smith and not have to pick up the 5th-year option for LVE, that's a huge swing. So love the Jabril Cox pick, and we'll have to wait and see. But I definitely think he's a major upgrade for the football team. So this is how I felt in the draft. First round, I didn't love it, but I knew he's a good player. Second round, I'm through the roof. I'm hyped. I'm jumping around. I'm hyped. Third round, oh gosh, man, I don't know none of these guys. Fourth round, I'm hyped again. Yes. Then we started getting into the weeds of guys we didn't know. I think in the 5th round, we took Josh Ball, tackle out of Marshall. And if Penei Sewell, I wasn't able to get Penei Sewell because he wasn't available. And I didn't take Rashawn Slater because of his great upside and his resume. I don't feel bad getting Josh Ball in the 5th round outside of his character issues.
Yeah. Now, here's my thing. Josh Ball is one of those guys where if he did do like the CBS receipts worth of stuff that he has been accused of, then screw him. But if he didn't, then you got to steal.
I think he's he has some things in his past that if he's shown maturity, I think he could have answered those questions better.
Absolutely.
I think his agent.
Let me cut you off, Chris. Yeah. He answered questions horrible. His answers in responses to the questions about his accusations were piss poor. So that's what leads me to these things. And we drafted them in the 5th round, so it's worth the flyer because it's kind of like a throwaway. It's like you bought them for $1 anyway. But
you found him on the discount rack for real. But exactly. He's an amazing talent. He's an amazing talent, very big man, amazing feet, and has the ability to have who can be a solid tackle in this league. So I can definitely understand that part. The problem I have more than anything else, Brandon, is that yes, his agent did him an absolute disservice by not giving him, hey, these questions are going to come up. If you get asked these questions, what should you say? Well, listen, that happened a long time ago. I made some mistakes. People around me made some mistakes. Even if by legal action, legally I can't talk about it, but I am remorseful for the things that have happened, and I've grown to be a better person. He says that every time this comes up, nobody cares. We're not worried about that. We're more focused on how good he can move, how well he can play, how much Tyron Smith tape he said he's watched, the whole 9. So that he's a work in progress PR wise, but as a football player, he had great upside. So I think Josh Ball was a really good pick in the 5th round.
He is one of those guys where you just gotta hope that he can stay out of trouble because.
Since his accusations at Florida State, he hasn't anything else come up. But it's
now he has a lot more money.
Yeah, and Brandon, because you're about to be betrothed soon. I know it was many long time ago, moons ago, that probably came across you. But I think in that situation for him, you had 2 young people who needed to leave each other alone and just couldn't. Let's be honest. Absolutely. And you had friends and buddies who've been in situations like that may not have gone to legal ramifications or may have gone to legal ramifications, and they just couldn't, I'm not good for you. You're not good for me. I need to leave you alone. And you just know, I've just never heard anybody getting, charges for violent dating and things of that
Absolutely.
nature. So it's a new world. But if he's grown from that and he's matured, let's see, man. Because when he steps between that 100 feet, that 100 yards, 54 feet wide, he's a player.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I hope he can pull it together though. I'll say that much. I hope that he can pull it together because he plays for my team.
Yeah,
So
and the one thing you have to say about
and
the one thing we have to always say about the Cowboys, if it comes to the point of them going to find out about somebody, they're gonna go find out about them. They're gonna go do the work to find out what's going on with that person. So I'm totally confident what they're able to pull out.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Now this was one of the mid-round picks, well, late round picks at this point, that I was really excited about. Simi Fehoko. I loved Simi. Simi.
Simi, huh?
Yeah, loved Simi. I thought about coming to America.
With the Royal, with the Royal Bathers and everybody else. Right. Yeah, I understand.
That's right. I think that Simi is gonna be like he's probably gonna take Cedric Wilson's job. Probably.
Okay. I'm gonna let you get this off.
Because I think that they want to go bigger. And I think that Noah Brown probably did just enough in 2020 to stay around, more so than Cedric Wilson. And Noah Brown is also a little bigger, and Simi's also a little bigger. So I think that if it comes down between Noah Brown and Cedric Wilson, it's going to be Noah Brown. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't, because I don't think I think Cedric Wilson is wide receiver 4. I think Cedric Wilson has proven that he can play in multiple positions and in the slot as well as outside, because he was able to do that last year. I like Cedric Wilson far more than I like Noah Brown.
So I think they got, I am on record for saying this.
Right, you are.
The wheels are turning.
But I think Simi, I think Simi is who Simi is. I think he does have a clutch gene, but I think the guy who needs to be on notice is Noah Brown, because I think Simi will come in day one and be a really, really good contributor on special teams and want to be able to do that and then work his way to 4. But I don't see Simi being okay. Hey, Michael Gallup's out and he's our first option to go. No. I think that's going to be. That'll be. Yeah. So I think the guy who has an issue or who may be on notice is Noah Brown. And the way they packing people's stuff up in garbage bags in Dallas right now, everybody got to be looking with their hands around, because they're not playing with these 11 draft picks. The last pick is a guard out of Nebraska. I have no idea who he was, what he brought, or how he fits into this equation. Give it to me.
I don't. Well, I do want to talk about Quentin Bohannon.
That's right. I forgot about Quentin. Yes.
Another good interior D lineman from Kentucky. Kelvin Joseph actually talked about him, said that he kind of, brought everyone together. He was like the glue that kind of, made everyone stick. I think that he kind of brought a lot of fire. I did like him. I'm not sure if he is going to, what's the right way to say it? I'm not sure if he's gonna steal anybody's job. If that's the right way to say it.
I think he has a chance to take somebody's job. Here's my thing. Listen, the one thing we have been crying for is a guy who looks like a one tech. We have not had a guy that looked like Vince Wilfork playing Dallas in the middle for us in forever. We haven't had.
He almost 400 pounds. He is almost 400 pounds, by the way.
Yeah, but I think he's down. I think he played at 330. I think he's now down to 315. So I can understand that 300, whatever makes him, whatever he can play and be effective. But I
Mhm.
think he does give you the presence of a big body in the middle. And I think they're looking at, hey, if I'm going to get the most out of Michael Parsons, if I'm going to get the most out of Leighton Vander Esch this year, if I'm going to salvage anything out of Jalen Smith and help Jabril Cox be who he has to be, we have to have defensive linemen that cause us to have to look on the other side of the ball, or have to people who can slow guys from getting to the second level so our linebackers can go flow and make plays. I
Yes.
think that's vitally important. So, hey, my man Big Bohannon, I hope he outnumber the best for him. I think he's what we've all been looking for. Still would have took Marvin Wilson right there because Marvin was still on
Yeah.
the board at that time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think Marvin's two bad knees just kind of, didn't really work
Yeah.
in his
Yeah.
favor.
They work in his favor. Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. Um. Uh. But yeah. Matt. Farnia, I think was
Something
the name of
out
that.
of Nebraska.
Yeah. Absolutely. I didn't watch any film on him. I'm gonna have to at some point as we
Of
do
course.
individual breakdowns of these guys.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Um. But you can never have too many O-linemen. He's a guard. I know that much.
Okay. Okay. We're a little heavy on guards right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we from last year we turned around and got play out of our guards, but I also think about the defensive line or the offensive line got some more depth, and I think that's the most important thing that this football team needed, because as we said before, when you have high dollar guys, the NFL draft gives you the ability to bring in young, talented, cheap
Cheap
labor.
labor. That's right.
And when Stephen Jones, AKA Mr. Keep My Pockets Tight, started saying all 11 guys can make it, I never doubted in his mind. And that's why a lot of people saw, had their exit tickets punched by the Cowboys this week.
That's right. Um, Chris, what Dallas got against safeties, man?
They don't like them. They don't value them. And they think they can change anybody into a safety. Um, they believe that they are talented enough to take a guy who um, is a okay corner, and if you can keep everything in front of him and have him run, he can be a pretty good safety. I think that was the reason why going getting Nashawn Wright in the third round was huge, but also getting Israel Mabukake.
Murakuma,
Hey, hey,
Mukwamu.
Israel
Yeah,
from South Carolina. Uh,
Mukwamu.
yeah, Mukwamu.
Mukwamu.
That's it, Mukwamu. Uh, I think that was the reason by going to get him. I don't think he plays a
Mhm.
snap at corner. I think he's going to be a
I don't think
safety.
so either.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a safety all day. The only time I saw him during my film study is when I saw him about 15 times get hung out to dry by Cal Pitts in all his
Absolutely.
videos. So I think him being a safety is where he's at, where he can go make plays and track the ball. I think he helps out and goes along those same lines of being a long, rangy type player. So I think he can go play safety.
Now, here's my thing. We've seen an evolution of the Cowboys' defensive philosophies, but one thing that hasn't changed throughout multiple coaching regimes now is the acceptance of that safety position. Why do you think that's so?
Man, Dallas just shows you that they don't value that. And I think they've
Who?
had so many. I think they've had so many holes elsewhere. They figure if we fix the front seven, the back half will take care of itself. I'll put it to you like this: outside of Tyrann Mathieu, who plays for the Chiefs, right? Right. Antoine
Mhm.
Winfield Jr. because you remember being a first round draft pick last year.
Yes, sir.
But okay, and I'm thinking about Kansas City. Who's Kansas City? I mean, not Kansas City, but who's San Francisco starting safeties? I'll wait.
I'm not sure.
You know why you don't worry about their safeties? Because their front seven is hellacious and they get to the quarterback. You think about with Tampa, and like I said, with Tampa, you know about Antoine Winfield Jr. because you saw him play and you saw him play last year. But they got incrementally better when that front seven was attacking and making plays. So I think Dallas is saying we got a Zazie, we got a Keezy out of from Atlanta. We signed him in free agency. I think we can take another guy, train him and develop him to be a ball hawk type safety and get maybe 25, 30 plays out of him this year back there as a rookie. Or they may,
That's understandable. And for what it's worth, around this same time last year, I did say that I've never seen a team that was just a safety away.
Ever. I've never seen that either. And that's and it also helps to keep the talks of the boogeyman down when you've got these young guys in here going and starting to work through the process. We don't have to say his name. We won't say his name under no circumstances here on Frankly Football about another guy who's out there in the street. But I definitely think it's something we can definitely use by helping our young players continue to develop and get going on the field.
Absolutely. Now you compare that to the one tech position. This is kind of the other side of the coin. You see, way back in Marinellaville, they didn't really accept the one tech position and the usefulness of it. Now you see where they draft two guys to try and bolster the position. In addition to bringing in a guy in free agency to really try to make sure that front is shored up.
Absolutely.
Why do you think that they are so committed to try to really patch up that hole in the wall as opposed to the back end?
Because they were historically bad at stopping the run last year. Not just bad, historically bad. And within the 60 years of the Dallas Cowboys being a franchise, it was the worst run defense in the history of the franchise. So they figured if we're going to stop anything, we're going to stop the run and earn the right to pass rush. And absolutely. I think that's what they did. You have to earn it. So I think with bringing in the guys they brought in, and for a year of guys getting bigger and stronger for Gallimore as well as Tristan Hill, Trigger Trey, my dude, I think they said we're shoring up the front. If we shore up the front, we get athletic in the linebacker core and get the most out of them. And we got really good bookend corners what we have now with Diggs and Kelvin Joseph. I think they're saying Donovan Wilson, he's a playmaker back there. We can hide him until we can go find a guy or he develops into a guy. So I think it works out.
I think so as well, man. I think that as we got further on in the year, the defense kind of gelled. The players got to know each other a little better. Hopefully that kind of, even though we have a different deep coordinator, that carries on into 2021. So we see a continuation of that into this upcoming season. Because we fight some good offenses, man. We play Kansas City. We play some rough teams.
We get Kansas City, we get Atlanta. Yeah, we get a chance to see everybody up close and personal. So it's definitely something.
Atlanta, even with Cal Pitts, don't scare me, bro. Atlanta, even with Cal Pitts, does not scare me because Matt Ryan is still throwing the ball.
I can definitely understand that. I can definitely understand your optimism with that. But like I said, man, I'm excited to see what these guys do. They come into camp next week on the 14th for OTAs, so that's a good deal. I think that's going to be huge this year. You missed a lot of that on the field, I can touch you type situation. I think that will help with the transition from what we had last year back into a more reasonable perception of what we're going to see. Because I don't need them to be top 10. I just need them to be like top 15.
Absolutely.
If they top 15, top 15.
Absolutely.
If they top 15,
I'll be okay.
Oh, hey man, listen, top 12 to top 18, I'm in the NFC Championship.
Easy.
I'm in the NFC Championship because I think my offense is going to be stupid this year.
Easy, man. Anything else that you want to talk about before we wrap up, Chris?
No, man. Listen, man, I just appreciate everybody rocking with us, man, as we We're growing a little bit, man. We're almost at 250 subscribers, man. Thank each and every one of y'all for clicking and hanging out with us and kicking with us. We appreciate you, dropping messages. If you haven't done already, as Brandon always eloquently says, if you've been here this long with us, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Hey, give us a like so you can help push us up in the algorithm. We're going to be bringing some more people on, some of our old guys that we kicked it with, some newer guys that we've been able to connect with over YouTube, man. And we're just going to try to keep this thing growing. Thank you for rocking with us this year, man. It has been an enjoyment and a ride for us. And we look forward, man, to bring you great content here on Frankly Football. Continue to be a part of this YouTube community, man, and doing something great, man. What you got on it, B, as we close up draft season?
Dang, this has been a good one, man. This has been a great draft season, bro. This has been a great way to really, close this book. And like you said, man, this has been a great end to the year for us. Great first year for us, bro. So I'm looking forward to this second season for us. New people to work with. Hopefully doing some things at some games, some tailgating type stuff, or like some things at some bars / restaurants with the world opening back up, however that may be. But yeah, man, just excited to see the next chapter of things with us.
That's what's up.
But if you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe. Shame on you if you're not subscribed already. I'm Brandon, and that's my guy.
Set it off, Chris, baby. Until next time.
This is Frankly Football. Peace.